Do you own or rent your home? I own my house. When are you able to start? I'll be able to start as early as next Monday. What does success mean to you? Success means to achieve a goal I have set for myself. What does success mean to you? Success means to produce high-quality work before the deadline. Are you willing to relocate? I love change and would definitely be willing to relocate. May I contact your current employer? Yes. Do you have their contact information? Do you earn any income from investments or hobbies? I have some investments in the stock market. How much do you currently get paid? I was paid $50,000 a year plus an 8% bonus. Are you considering any other offers right now? I'm not considering any of my offers right now. Do you manage your time well? I know I manage my time well because I'm never late to work and I've never missed a deadline. Why do you like sales? I like sales because I like talking with people and I'm good at making people feel comfortable. What's the most recent movie you saw? The last movie I saw was The Last Samurai. I thought it was great. When are you able to start? I have to give my current employer a 2-week notice, so I could start immediately after that. In what ways are you organized and disorganized? I'm very organized with my time and work, but my desk is a little disorganized. How long have you been looking for a job? I sent out my resumes just last week. I'm very excited to join a company where I can help out. Why haven't you received any offers so far? I recently started looking for a job, but I'm hoping that I'll receive offers soon. Tell me a little about yourself. I grew up in Korea and studied accounting. I worked at an accounting firm for 2 years, and I enjoy bicycling and jogging. What do you do to stay in shape? I play for a co-ed softball team. It's fun and it gives me a little exercise. What extracurricular activities were you involved in? I was involved in our school newspaper. I was one of the writers for 3 years. Do you like to work by yourself or with others? If I had to choose just one, then I'd probably choose to work alone. What are your strengths? My strongest trait is in customer service. I listen and pay close attention to my customers' needs, and I make sure that they are more than satisfied. What course did you like the most? I really enjoyed an English writing class I took. This class taught me to write more clearly and concisely. What do you feel an employer owes an employee? I believe an employer should provide a good work environment and opportunities for growth in return for hard work. If you're given work from your manager that is boring and tedious, what will you do? If it's helping the company in any way, I don't mind doing boring work. What course did you like the least? I disliked my geography class. It wasn't difficult, but I simply didn't find it very interesting. Why haven't you received any offers so far? Actually, I received an offer from Intel, but I didn't respond with my answer yet because this company is my first choice. What extracurricular activities were you involved in? I was very active in our university politics. In my senior year, I was the vice president of the university. What extracurricular activities were you involved in? Besides studying, I played baseball for our school. I really like to study and to stay physically active. Tell me a little about yourself. I'm an easygoing person that works well with everyone. I enjoy being around different types of people, and I always like to challenge myself to improve at everything I do. How would your mother describe you? I think my mother would say I'm very friendly because I had a lot of friends, and that I'm very focused because I always finish what I start. Tell me a little about yourself. I've always liked being balanced. When I work, I want to work hard, And outside of work, I like to engage in my personal activities such as golfing and fishing. What does success mean to you? To me, success means to have a goal, plan the steps to achieve the goal, implement the plan, and finally achieve the goal. Did you do any internships? I did one internship for IBM. I was on the development team creating applications for business solutions. What are your weaknesses? This might be bad, but in college I found that I procrastinated a lot. I realized this problem, and I'm working on it by finishing my work ahead of schedule. What is your management philosophy? I think management should provide guidance, direction, leadership, and finally set an example to subordinates. Is there anything else I should know? One final trait that I have that would be perfect for this position is my organizational skills. I'm very detailed and plan very well. What course did you like the most? My favorite subject was physics. It really helped my logic abilities, and I use this knowledge to solve problems in a variety of ways. What course did you like the most? There was a speech class I took that I really enjoyed. It helped me to speak in groups better, and I learned to speak professionally in front of an audience. Why did you choose your major? I majored in biology because I initially wanted to go to med school. Although I decided not to go to med school, I still wanted to complete my bachelor's degree. How do you handle change? I handle changes smoothly. Whenever there's a change of any sort, I analyze the situation and I always try to find ways I can contribute to the change in a positive way. Why should I hire you? I'm a perfect fit for this position. I have the experience and the traits you're looking for. On top of that, I'm a great team player that gets along with everyone. How do you feel about overtime? I don't mind working overtime at all. I know during busy times, people are expected to work more, and I'm flexible with my hours, so I won't have a problem. What do you feel an employer owes an employee? I believe an employer should respect their employees and treat them fairly. I plan on working hard, and I should be recognized for my contributions. What do you do when there's no work to do? As a sales associate, there are many times when there is no work, but I always stay busy by cleaning and rearranging the items I'm selling before customers come in. What does failure mean to you? I think failure is not reaching your potential. If you do not use the resources you have and the resources around you, that's failure because the work or goal could have been done better. If you redo college again, what would you major in? I didn't realize I was so interested in computers until I graduated college. So if I could select a different major, I would major in computer science. If you're told to do something that you feel is illegal, what would you do? I'd verify if the work was legal or not. If it wasn't legal, then I'd confront my manager and my manager's manager with this incident. What are your strengths? After having worked for a couple of years, I realized my strength is accomplishing a large amount of work within a short period of time. I get things done on time, and my manager always appreciated it. During college, how did you spend your summer vacations? My last 2 summers of college, I did an intern for a consulting firm. I gained experience working on office solutions for large companies. During college, how did you spend your summer vacations? I have a strong interest in traveling, so I used my summer to travel. I went to Europe, Australia, Brazil, and China. Are you willing to relocate? I guess it would depend on the location and the pay. If everything is the same, I would rather stay here because this is where I grew up, but I would be willing to consider it. Which category do you fall under? A person who anticipates a problem well, or a person who reacts to a problem well? I'm good at dealing with problems, so I'm a person who reacts to a problem well. How do you get along with your coworkers? I've always had an easy time getting along with different types of people, so I never had a problem getting along with my coworkers. I consider many of them my friends. What's the most recent movie you saw? Oh gosh, it's been a while since I've seen a movie. I think it was Spider-Man. I like to spend my time outside, so I don't see movies that often. Who do you think are our two major competitors? The two competitors of Nokia are Motorola and Samsung. Motorola has a strong presence in the United States, where Samsung is more global. Why do you like sales? I enjoy sales because it requires strong communication skills, and that's one of my strong traits. I like the challenge of making a sale, and I feel good whenever I make a good sale. What do you do when you have a problem with a coworker? I've always been told that I'm a great person to work with, but if I were in a situation where I was having a problem, I believe I'd work on a relationship by being more understanding. If you could change one thing about your personality, what would it be and why? I would like to be more of an extrovert. I'm a little quiet and a little closer to the introvert side. I would like to change this because I would appear more friendly. Why should I hire you? There are two reasons I should be hired. First, my qualifications match your needs perfectly. Second, I'm excited and passionate about this industry and will always give 100%. What do you do when you have a problem with your boss? I'm very open with my manager. I feel it's important that my manager knows about how I feel. I always start a conversation and try and solve our differences through professional conversation. What do you do when there's no work to do? Usually when I have nothing to do, I ask my manager if any of my peers need help. If not, then I usually spend time studying material that'll help me on my next project. How do you handle change? I'm good at dealing with change because I'm a quick thinker. If new information makes us change our marketing strategy, for example, I'll be quick to analyze the information and create a plan to make the changes. How would your mother describe you? My mother told me I was always smart. When I was younger, she was surprised to see A's in my report card. After a while, she would be surprised when I didn't receive an A. How long do you plan on staying with this company? This company has everything I'm looking for. It provides the type of work I love, the employees are all happy, and the environment is great. I plan on staying a long time. What have you heard about our company that you didn't like? From my research, I didn't find anything I disliked. This company provides great benefits, works on exciting products, and is listed in the top 100 companies to work for. What do you do when you're having difficulty solving a problem? I break down the problem piece by piece and try and solve difficult problems step by step. This approach helps me not to get overwhelmed by difficult problems. Why did you choose your major? I majored in history because I enjoyed learning about the past. I always try to apply my history knowledge in many things I do. This knowledge allowed me to study many different experiences. What do you do when you have a problem with your job? If I have a problem that I can solve, I'll do everything I can to correct it. If the problem is out of my control, I feel it's important to let my manager know what my problems are. What are your long-term goals? After a successful career, I'd love to write a book on office efficiency. I think working smart is important, and I have many ideas. So after gaining more experience, I'm going to try and write a book. Why do you want to leave your current job? My current company is very large, and it's difficult to do different tasks. We have routine work that never changes. I want to work in an environment where I can utilize more of my skills. What course did you like the least? I struggled in music class the most. I really enjoy listening to music, so I tried to learn a little about it. But it was a disaster. My tone was off, and I couldn't tell if something was flat or not. How long do you plan on staying with this company? The only time I get bored is if there is no work to do. As long as there's a lot of work, then I'll be happy and stay for a long time. I'm a busybody and I need to do work. How do you handle conflict? I treat most conflicts the same. I analyze the conflict and create a list of steps I can take to resolve it. By thinking about these steps and taking action, I found that most conflicts are easy to handle. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Although I really enjoy working hands-on as a mechanical engineer, I want to eventually become a manager. I want to continue gaining experience, and after learning many different aspects, I see myself in management. Are you a risk taker, or do you like to stay away from risks? I take risks because through planning and working smart, it's possible to reduce some of the risk. So if there's a reasonable chance of success, I would take the opportunity. During your performance reviews, what criticism do you hear the most? My manager told me that I should send more updates. He told me I did my projects well and that I was never late, but he would like more updates so he can report to his manager. Tell me about your last 3 positions. I worked as a translator for the King County Courthouse. Afterwards, I worked as a translator for hospitals. My last position was translating help documents for a software company. Tell me about the best manager you ever had. My favorite manager was a person with a lot of knowledge. She stood her ground firmly and knew the best process to take by analyzing all the information. How do you manage having so many things to do, such as work, family, and school? With my kids in school, it's really easy to manage my time. I have the full day to myself, and I want to be productive by helping a company grow. What do you do when you have a problem with your boss? When I have a problem with my boss, I don't like to keep it bottled up. I want to resolve problems so I can work efficiently without distractions. So I always talk to my manager about the problems that I have openly. What types of people do you have trouble getting along with? I get along with almost everyone, but I tend to get frustrated at people who always say yes and end up not delivering. I expect honesty and integrity, and saying yes should mean yes. Would you like to have your boss's job? I'm always learning new things, and in time, I would like to have my boss's position. I believe I'm on track to become a manager, and I'll continue to work hard to prove my abilities to the company. Why are you applying for a job that you didn't major in? I majored in history, but during my senior year, I had an opportunity to work at an accounting firm. After seeing firsthand at the work they were doing, I really wanted to become an accountant. Have you managed people in any of the positions you've held? I've never managed people yet, but I have 2 years of experience mentoring new employees. I took several courses on management, and I feel I'm ready to take the next step of managing people. What do you like to do when you're not in the office? Well, I like the piano, so I have piano lessons on a weekly basis. I also like gardening, so I work in my yard a lot. But if I want to relax, I like to watch videos at night. Why do you want to leave your current job? I want to find a company with more opportunities. My previous company was very small and didn't have opportunities for growth. After learning about the work environment here, I felt this is exactly the type of place I want to work. You've been with one company your entire career. Don't you think you'll have a tough time adjusting to a new environment? I actually like being in new environments. I like to travel a lot, and even when I'm in a different country, I've always blended in smoothly. If you have problems or complaints with your current job, why haven't you brought it to their attention? I actually told my manager several times. I told him about my desire to learn new things and take on new challenges, but there aren't many opportunities in my current group. How will your performance in your worst class affect your performance on this job? No matter if I liked the class or not, I always tried my hardest. As a result, the lowest grade I ever received was a B, so I'm confident that I'll be good at any task. How will your performance in your worst class affect your performance on this job? My performance in my worst class will positively impact my performance on this job. I struggled with the logic class, but I studied harder, researched more information, and I never gave up. Have you managed people in any of the positions you've held? I didn't hold a management position, but I was in charge of several projects where I had to manage a group of 4 workers to complete projects for a 3-month duration each. These projects gave me great experience in managing people. What do you do when you have a problem with the direct? I believe in open communication. I always analyze the problem and then tell my direct clearly. I always provide steps that we both can take to deal with the problem. This approach helps me because it shows my respect. If you could learn something, such as a new skill, what would it be? I want to learn the different ways to market globally. In my marketing team, I learned everything about marketing on a local level, but I would really love to learn about marketing to different countries. What were the most memorable accomplishments in your last position? I remember the day I completed an audit from beginning to end all by myself. Since I was an entry-level auditor, this accomplishment really felt good because it was my first major step. If you have problems or complaints with your current job, why haven't you brought it to their attention? After working the night shift for a couple of years, I wanted normal working hours. I told my manager about this, but there was no positions available for regular hour shifts. That's a high salary for this position. Where did you come up with that figure? I have 3 more years of experience that will help a lot. I also have a college degree that is not stated as a requirement, but if the figure is too high, I would consider something a little less. How do you make important decisions? I gather all the information I can, and based on the information, I'll come to the best decision I can. If I know a coworker was in a similar situation, I wouldn't hesitate to find out the results to make sure my decision is the best one. If you don't leave your current job, what do you imagine you will be doing in several years? To tell you the truth, I feel I'll be doing the same thing I'm doing now. I always look for more work and different opportunities, but my current company doesn't have many opportunities for advancement. Do you see that stapler? Convince me to buy it. This stapler is on sale for 30% off. The manufacturer is a new company, so their prices are great right now. They have a great warranty program, and it will save your company a lot of money with a substantial discount. What are your weaknesses? The weakest trait I've struggled with was not asking for help. I always try to solve my own problems instead of asking a coworker who might know the answer. This would save me more time, and I would be more efficient. I'm working on knowing when it would be beneficial to ask for help. What do you do when you're having difficulty solving a problem? I always do my best solving difficult problems. If I have trouble, I will use resources around me, such as looking through the internet, asking coworkers, asking my manager, or looking through some books. What do you do when a worker is giving the team more problems than helping? If the problem is related to a difficult task that a coworker cannot solve, then I'll get all the team members to help out. But if the problem is due to laziness or unwillingness to work, then I'll inform my manager of the problem. How do you manage having so many things to do, such as work, family, and school? Well, during the day while my kids are in school, I like to work. And in the evenings, we spend time together doing homework. I really enjoy being busy and managing multiple things in my life. What do you do when there are too many things to do? I believe in hard work. A lot can be accomplished by working diligently. In a situation where there are many things to do, I will reprioritize my work, plan and organize as much as I can, and work hard. Give me a specific example at your last position where you made things more efficient. As a sales associate, I do my part in increasing revenue by making more sales. Even if I am having a good month, I continue to work hard to make sure our company is continually increasing its revenue. If you could start your career over again, what would you do differently? I started my career at a small company. I feel I would have benefited more if I had started at a larger company. A large company usually provides training that I didn't receive, so I'd like to have started my career in a larger company. Tell me about a time you fired someone. Our company was downsizing, and I had to let 2 people go. It's easier when a person does a terrible job, but if everyone is doing their job, it's more difficult. I had to select the bottom 2 performers and explain why they were being let go. Tell me about the worst manager you ever had. In my last position, I had a manager who didn't like to give instructions. I managed to figure a lot of it out, but I would have saved a lot of time if my manager gave a simple 5-minute overview on the project. If you could change one thing about your personality, what would it be and why? I would like to be more of a risk taker. I always do my work and complete it at an exceptional level, but sometimes taking a risk can make the work even better. I'm working on this by thinking the issue through and weighing the pros and cons. Would you like to have your boss's job? Yes. I have several years of experience, and I also took on projects to learn more about management. I don't necessarily want to replace my manager, but I would like to learn more about management so I can be ready when a position is available. Tell me about a time you aimed too low. There was a new project that I was interested in. Because I had other responsibilities, I didn't volunteer. I wasn't too busy, but I was worried I wouldn't complete the assignment on time. I realized I missed a wonderful opportunity because I aimed too low. What's the title of the person you report to? What responsibility does he or she have? My manager had a supervisor title. He was in charge of distributing work to staff auditors, reviewing final audits, scheduling business trips, and he also performed audits as well. Which category do you fall under? A person who anticipates a problem well, or a person who reacts to a problem well? I think it's good to be good at both, but in my experience, I realized I react to problems better. Whenever I'm faced with a new problem, I know what steps to take to deal with the problem. Which category do you fall under? A person who anticipates a problem well, or a person who reacts to a problem well? I believe I'm strong in both, but I try to work more on anticipating problems. In this profession, it's very important to anticipate a problem and fix it before it becomes a real problem. Tell me about the best manager you ever had. My favorite manager was very trusting and easy to approach. I grew in many ways under this manager, and I valued his method of dealing with directs. I believe in growing employees, and this manager did a great job. Tell me about the best manager you ever had. I had a manager that worked efficiently. Instead of bossing everyone around, he set an example of hard work through his actions. I respected that trait and learned to be more like him by working smarter. Do you manage your time well? Managing my time is one of my strong traits. I prioritize my tasks, and this allows me to stay ahead of schedule. Each day I manage my time so I can achieve more than I set out to do. So managing my time in a goal-oriented way is what I feel very comfortable doing. If you're told to do something that you feel is illegal, what would you do? I would first verify if it's legal or not. If it is legal, then I would continue with the work. If it's illegal, I would not do the work and tell my manager that this work is illegal. I would also let human resources aware of the situation. Do you want to work for a small or large company, and why? I want to work for a large company because there are different opportunities within the company. I also feel a larger company provides better training. Finally, a larger company already has key processes in place to provide employees tools to work efficiently. Do you like to work by yourself or with others? That's a tough question. I like the combination of the two. It's great working in teams while getting and sharing ideas with each other, but it's also nice to sit at your desk and work hard productively. I like to do both, so it's hard to choose one over the other. Who do you think are our two major competitors? The number one competitor to Verizon is Cingular. After they merged with AT&T, they became the largest cell phone provider with a 19% market control. The next competitor is Nextel. Although they only have 10% of the market, they are increasing in strength. Give me a specific example at your last position where you made things more efficient. It's something small, but in our office, everyone left their monitors and lights on. I simply put up signs to turn off their monitors and to turn off office lights. This really helped, and our VP even told me he appreciated the small effort. What was your favorite job? The last position I held was my favorite job. I really enjoy all aspects of accounting and auditing. However, I don't want to limit myself to just governmental accounting, so I want a position where I can be doing similar type of work, but in a larger setting. What do you do when you have a problem with your job? It depends on the specific problem, but in most cases, I'll face the problem that I have with my job and find a solution. If I avoid the problem, it will always be there and my work quality will decrease. So I found that solving the problems immediately helps me in the long term. Tell me about your last position. What did you do and how'd you do it? Include the people you worked for and the people you worked with. I was a program manager for a manufacturing company. I was in charge of cost analysis concerning different quantities of manufacturing. I also worked on planning the procedure for the next deliverables. During your performance reviews, what criticism do you hear the most? I heard that I need to be proactive. I always perform at an exceptional level, but I didn't volunteer for additional work. I wasn't accustomed to it, so I'm glad that I received this criticism. I now practice keeping an eye out for additional projects I can take on. If you could learn something such as a new skill, what would it be? The next thing I want to learn is how to make web pages. I think this skill can be used anywhere. If I want a personal website, I would make it myself. And if my group at work needed an internal website to organize activities, I would be able to make one. Tell me about your last 3 positions. I've only held 2 different positions. In my first job, I was a lab manager for ABC Software Company. I monitored 50 computers and performed diagnostics regularly. In my last position, I was a network engineer, fixing network problems and troubleshooting bottlenecks. What were the most memorable accomplishments in your last position? One day our director came out of his office asking who wrote up the documentation for ABC firm. I didn't know if he was upset or impressed. I said I did it, and he basically said, "Great job," and went back to his office. This was memorable because the director never did this before. If you don't leave your current job, what do you imagine you will be doing in several years? I'm confident I'll be in a management position several years from now. In my current position, junior employees ask me many questions, and I like to mentor people. My work is very routine, and I am very efficient. I want to find more challenges my work currently doesn't offer. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? 5 years from now, I want to be a senior sales manager. I'm currently training to become a manager, and if I continue to work hard, I feel I'll have a management position soon. After gaining several years of experience as a sales manager, I want to be in a position where I can train and provide my expertise to newer sales managers. Tell me about a time you went over budget. During our marketing campaign, we realized how many customers we were gaining through the radio advertisements. Although we didn't have budget for more radio advertisement, I still made the decision to place our ad on 3 more stations. We increased sales by 25% for that month, but I ended up going over budget by 5%. Tell me about a time you made a mistake. I was given a project to complete in a week. I understood the project, but I misinterpreted one section. After completing the project, I was told by my manager that it was done incorrectly. I really made a mistake by assuming incorrectly in one of the sections instead of asking for clarification. I learned not to assume through the mistake I made. Tell me about a time you aimed too high. We had a new project that I was interested in. Even though I was busy, I volunteered to take on the assignment. I had to work so much more. Although I managed to complete the assignment, it really burnt me out. I feel I aimed too high, and I would have benefited by doing a better job on my current assignments instead of wanting more challenges. If you're given work from your manager that is boring and tedious, what will you do? I trust that management knows what is best for the project. Whatever work I am given, I'm going to do my best, knowing that it's helping the entire company. I am more oriented towards success of the company, and I'll do whatever it takes to help out, so I wouldn't mind doing boring and tedious work for a while. Why do you like sales? I've always liked sales. I enjoy working with and talking to people. I'm good at making people comfortable, and I also like the challenge. In the past with my friends, I heard comments frequently that I would make a good salesman, even before I got into sales. So basically, I like sales because it fits my personality, and I really enjoy it. Did you do any internships? I love to travel, and I realize that when I start my career, I won't be able to travel for long durations. So I used my summers to travel a lot. I spent one summer in Europe for 2 months. I spent another summer traveling between China and some Southeast Asian countries. And finally, I took a road trip through the United States. Tell me about your last position. What did you do and how'd you do it? Include the people you worked for and the people you worked with. I worked for a large insurance company as an agent. I made sales to new customers and provided customer service to existing customers. I worked with 3 other people in my group, and we helped each other by sharing ideas and experiences. Why should I hire you? You should hire me because I'm confident and I'll do the best job. I have a proven track record of success starting from high school until now. I'm responsible and smart. This position requires someone that will work well without supervision. I know how to manage my time and organize my work well, so I'm confident I will be the best candidate for this position. If you redo college again, what would you major in? If I were to redo college again, I don't think I would change my major. I like the fact that I majored in business, and I believe it will help me with my career. I'm pretty good with the computer, but I would like to have taken more computer classes. Because technology is growing so quickly, I think I would have benefited from having a deeper understanding in computers. In what ways are you organized and disorganized? I organize my schedule the best. I'm used to many meetings, and so it's important for me to be organized with my schedule and time. The area I need to improve is probably my file cabinet. I started to sort things alphabetically, but when I'm busy, I start putting things in there. It started getting hard to find things, but this is something I'm going to fix. If you're told to do something that you feel is illegal, what would you do? If I'm not sure, I would verify whether it's legal or not before performing the task. If I find it is legal, then I would continue with the task. If not, then I would report the request to the boss of the person who asked me to do it. If the boss does not take appropriate action, I would find out why and report the incident to Human Resources myself. Tell me about a time you hired someone. I found a resume on the internet that was a perfect match for one of our open positions. I contacted the person and we talked for about 10 minutes. During that call, I explained why our company was a great place to work and the opportunities we offered. After a couple more calls, he agreed to come in for an interview and we made an offer. He became a great employee. Would you like to have your boss's job? I would definitely like to have my boss's job. However, before taking on that role, I want to gain more experience and learn from my manager. I believe in thorough preparation, and I am doing everything I can to learn more about management and taking on more difficult projects. I know through my hard work I will eventually have the opportunity to have a similar position to my boss. If everyone on the team is a veteran, what will you do to fit in and be a beneficial team member instead of a person who appears to be in training? I'll study as much as I can to fit into a group of veterans. I know I'll have many questions along the way, but listening carefully and putting pieces together will allow me to catch up quickly. I know I'll be able to be an effective team player in a short time by following this method. What do you do when there's no work to do? I'm a type of person who hates not having work to do. In my last position, I frequently asked my supervisor for more work when I finished early. And in times when there really is no work, I go around searching for work, and if I'm still unsuccessful, I'll try to make work that will make existing processes more efficient. So I believe there never is a time when there is no work to do. What course did you like the least? For me, I had a tough time in my drama class. I didn't realize that I was a terrible actor. I didn't think it would be that hard, but week after week, my instructor would point out problem after problem. He gave me a B, but I think it was because of my effort, not because of my abilities. I say this because when I saw myself on video, oh my gosh, it was terrible. When do you know enough is enough when dealing with a subordinate that doesn't seem to be helping? I know enough is enough when I've exhausted all measures to help this employee grow. I would do my part by providing encouragement, giving extra instructions, mentoring, and giving different types of work. If I exhaust all these steps, then I know I can't do anything further, and that is when enough is enough. Tell me about a time you found a solution to save the company money. I wasn't really in any position to save the company money, but I have one small example. When we were a smaller company, we didn't get a significant corporate discount on our hardware. After we grew in size, we qualified for the larger discount, but nobody realized that we now met the quota. I pointed this out and we started saving 5% more on our hardware. What did you learn from your internship? In my final summer vacation, I had the opportunity to work as an intern for a public accounting firm. It was only for 3 months, but I learned a lot about performing quarterly tax services for small and medium-sized companies. I also learned to deal with time pressure and learn how to prioritize work to be more efficient. It was a great experience that I know will help me when I start my career. If you were unfairly criticized, what would you do? If I'm publicly criticized unjustly, I would immediately ask that person on what grounds he or she is saying that. One of my pet peeves is putting someone down in public, and if I don't say anything there, then this person is getting away with something terrible, and everyone will think that I did something wrong. I would keep my temper in check, but make sure that people know the criticism wasn't justified. If your supervisor tells you to do something that you believe can be done in a different way, what would you do? I would question my supervisor why he or she wants it done this particular way. If I still don't agree with the method, I would suggest alternate ways of tackling the assignment and explain how my suggestion would be better. After having a good conversation, if we still can't see eye to eye, then I would have to trust my superior and follow his or her instructions. What do you do when you have a problem with the direct? Because I'm the manager, I feel it's my responsibility to improve the relationship. If the problem is work-related, I'll narrow the problem down, whether it's with his working style or another type of problem, and assist in any way I can. This would also involve providing feedback and suggestions on how to approach problems. But if our personalities conflict, then I would try to be more understanding. What aspects of this job interest you the most? Ever since I was studying mechanical engineering in college, I had a strong interest in automobile engines. This position is to help the engine design team to create better fuel-efficient cars. When I read that, it really jumped out to me. I knew I really wanted this position because it combined my interest and my experience into one. So being on a team where I can work on something I love is what appeals to me most. Are you an organized person? I'm actually a very organized person. It's funny that you mention this because just the other day, my roommate wanted to borrow my suitcase and saw my closet. He made fun of me for organizing my clothes by length and color. I'm like that with everything. It's just so much easier to manage things. However, I'm not picky and don't need to have things in a certain way. I just want things to be organized. So yes, I consider myself organized. Tell me about a time you hired someone. I received a resume, but it didn't have all our requirements. I initially thought she wasn't a fit, but after looking over the education background and the previous work experience, I thought this person would have more potential than other candidates. After interviewing her, we extended an offer. She was a quick learner and performed at an exceptional level. Sometimes it's important to see potential, and in this instance, it was a great hire. Why did you choose your major? I majored in history because I always had a strong interest in historical facts. I grew up very close to history and chose this major because I really enjoyed the subject. I planned on becoming a high school history teacher or even a professor, but then I started to get into computers. It's totally different from history, but it really fascinated me. Now, instead of looking in the past, I'm always looking into the future through all the technological changes. If you could start your career over again, what would you do differently? Well, I majored in chemistry, and now I'm working in the marketing department for a telecommunications company. I had a lot to learn in the beginning, but I quickly learned what I needed to know to be an effective member of the marketing team. However, I always felt that if I majored in business or marketing, I would have started off with a better foundation. I'm great at what I do, but if I could start over again, I would probably choose to have majored in business administration. What types of people do you have trouble getting along with? I get along with almost everyone, but I think I have the hardest time tolerating people who think they are always right. Not everything is black and white, and many times there are multiple ways of doing something. In my last group, I had a coworker that believed his way was the correct way. That's fine, but when you try to explain another viewpoint, he doesn't listen, starts to talk louder, and he begins to think it's a debate. I avoided him for a while, but I realized I should put in an effort to deal with his personality. What are your weaknesses? I think my weakest trait is my impatience. Whenever I work in a team and a member is not performing up to my expectations, I can get impatient and annoyed. I understand if they are working hard and their portion is difficult, but sometimes a person can't do the assignment due to incompetence or laziness. A while back, I would get frustrated and start complaining, but I realized that I can help out by explaining things to some people and encouraging lazy people by reminding them of deadlines. I know it's bad to be impatient, but I'm definitely working on it. If you have problems or complaints with your current job, why haven't you brought it to their attention? My biggest complaint is that there are no opportunities to grow. My manager tells me I'm doing great work, but I feel I am stuck at this level. I spoke with my manager for more work so I can grow and gain more experience, but unfortunately, there isn't any work to give. I even had a discussion about changing roles, but because there is no open headcount in other divisions, it was hard to do that. So I definitely conveyed my desire for more work or for change, but it was something they couldn't provide. What do you do when a worker is giving the team more problems than helping? I've been in this situation a couple of times. One time, we organized and distributed easier work to the worker with problems, but this is only a short-term solution. Most of the time, I end up spending a lot of time helping the person out. It might have been quicker if the rest of the team members did all the work, but I figure helping this person now will benefit us in the next project. Although this method doesn't work all the time, I really get excited when it does work. Then I know I really helped another person succeed, and this in turn helps the company. Give me a specific example at your last position where you made things more efficient. In my last position, I was the manager for a Japanese restaurant. We were located in downtown and realized that not everyone had a full hour for a lunch break. I created a system to turn 5 of our dishes into meals that would be ready in 3 minutes. We put up a sign indicating that we would have meals in less than 3 minutes, and revenues jumped 30%. I considered the location of the restaurant and saw an opportunity to provide meals to customers that would have never considered our meal due to the lack of time. The store owner was really proud of this accomplishment. Have you managed people in any of the positions you've held? I've never been in a management position yet, but I did manage 2 temporary employees for a 1-year duration. During that time, I was given a large area of work to cover. I planned and organized the work to distribute to the 2 extra workers. I managed their work and kept track of how many hours they worked each week. I met with them on a regular basis and provided feedback on where they were doing well and where they needed improvement. Their time in our team ended after we completed the project. It wasn't a management position, but I gained experience in managing people. Do you work well under pressure? I have a couple of friends who hate working under pressure. I don't know if it's odd, but I really enjoy working under pressure. I use the feelings of pressure as a tool to motivate me to work harder and more efficiently. In my last job, I remember we had a project to complete in 4 days, where it usually took 10 days. There was a lot of panic by some team members, but I assured everyone that if we concentrate on the task and work real hard, we can complete the project. It took a lot of overtime, and the last day we were in the office until 2 a.m., but we managed to finish. It was hard work, but I really enjoyed that experience. You've been with one company your entire career. Don't you think you'll have a tough time adjusting to a new environment? Although I've been with one company, I've experienced many changes and new roles in my career. For example, during the middle of a long project, the vice president sent out a group-wide mail completely changing our direction. We had to basically start from scratch with half the time left. It felt like I was a new employee again, having to ramp up on new technology, reading up on instructional documentation, and learn new applications. So through my experience dealing with change and adjusting to new projects, I am confident I will not have a tough time adjusting to this new environment. What do you do when you have a problem with a coworker? Well, it all depends if it's a personality conflict or an issue that is causing the problem. An issue is easy to deal with. I think I'd go and talk with a coworker, saying something like, "If you have some time, I think it would be good for us if we could talk about this issue." Starting a conversation to deal with the problem with a coworker is the hardest step, and if it's done properly, then the issue can easily be resolved. If it is a personality issue, then I would try to be more understanding and at worst deal with the problem by anticipating conflicts ahead of time to put myself in a position to either avoid it or to make it less of a problem. In what ways are you organized and disorganized? Oh, that's a good question. Well, I'm organized in almost everything I do. I'm very organized with my schedule and time. I like to work efficiently, and being organized with my time helps me. The area I feel I am disorganized is probably my desk. I like to work fast and don't keep my desk area as tidy as some people I know. This, however, doesn't prevent me from doing my job well. You know, some people can have files and paper all over their desk, but somehow know exactly where everything is located. I think I'm one of those people. However, if I know I'm having a client or a guest, then I would definitely make things more tidy. How do you explain the fact that you frequently change jobs? I see that you haven't stayed with a company for more than 2 years. To tell you the truth, early in my career, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I've been in a couple different industries, and it wasn't until my last position that I found exactly what I wanted to be doing. I stayed with my previous company for more than a year, but there weren't enough opportunities. I finally found what I love to do, and now I want to find a company where I can be part of the company instead of a worker that has no interest in the overall company. I'm being careful to choose my next job because I want to establish my career in my next job, and after researching, I found that ABC Company can provide everything I'm looking for, so I'll definitely be here for the long term. Tell me about the worst manager you ever had. The worst manager I had was when I was working at a database company. I didn't like my manager because he was never available. Whenever he was given an assignment, he always delegated the work without explaining the details. We were told to figure it out. I believe you can learn from figuring some things out by yourself, but it was obvious that this wasn't his intention. But the worst thing about it was that I didn't know that he was bad until I changed to a different manager. He kept feeding us false hope, saying we were close to being promoted. Basically, it was a way to keep us motivated to work extra hard. Sure, it worked for a while, but I didn't gain anything else out of it except what not to be as a manager. Tell me about the best manager you ever had. The best manager I had was during my first year at Microsoft. Since then, I had been under many different managers, but nobody matched up to his level. I respected him the most because of 2 reasons. He spent a great deal of time mentoring me and teaching me many work-related things. I became a great employee because of him. And second, he produced the greatest amount of quality work among all the other managers. I always wondered how he could spend so much time with me and still find ways to outperform other managers. But that is where I learned how to work smart and efficiently. He showed me how to be the best employee through his action and through the individual lessons he gave me. I was so happy to have had a great manager early in my career. Why should I hire you? This position is for a quality assurance manager. I'm confident I'm the best person for this job because of my past experience. At ABC Software Company, I was in charge of a team that was responsible for the quality of 3 different applications. I have intimate knowledge of quality assurance, product support, and even some creative processes that will benefit a quality assurance team. I have built a team from scratch and fully understand the product development cycle. Finally, one of my traits is in developing and mentoring junior employees. I believe in transferring knowledge to everyone in the company and investing a little more effort into the people who work for me. So I strongly believe that I'll be the best candidate due to the combination of my experience, my managerial skills, and my desire to provide growth in employees. Tell me about a time you failed to complete an assignment on time. With proper planning and good execution, I think it's hard to fail at meeting a deadline. But I remember one time in the middle of a project, our clients wanted to change one aspect of the assignment that we already completed. I analyzed the change request and told them that we wouldn't be able to make the date. I estimated that it would take 3 additional days. They insisted that we finish on the agreed upon time schedule. I told them we'd try, but we couldn't promise anything. Even with hard work and overtime, we missed the due date. We did, however, finish 1 day late. In this situation, where I didn't feel we could reach the deadline, I specifically told them that we couldn't. I continually sent updates on the progress to keep the clients informed. Since we missed the deadline, they were not too happy, but overall they were satisfied because I effectively communicated the progress regularly. Tell me about a time you made a good decision. In my last position at Microsoft, there was a time period where our group was going to slip reaching our milestone by 1 day. This was because the day before exiting the 3rd milestone, we found a problem in the program. Since we created a new build with all bug fixes each morning, we had 2 choices. We could either fix the problem and verify the program the next day after we build again, or we could postpone the problem and fix it in the next milestone. Both options didn't sound very appealing. I suggested fixing the program now and perform another build to verify the fix instead of waiting for tomorrow. Many times people are used to following a process, but in this case I challenged the process of building in the morning and requested another build to verify the last bug fix. In the end, we were able to complete milestone 3 on time and fix the important problem. This was significant because if we didn't exit milestone 3, then everyone waiting to start work on the next milestone would have to wait another day. In essence, this saved a day's work for more than 30 people. Why do you want to leave your current job? I really enjoy what I'm doing, but I feel I'm following a routine. I looked around for more opportunities to grow, but because the company is small, I'm very limited. I want to work in an environment that will help me realize my full potential, and a place I can contribute everything I'm capable of doing. My current job doesn't provide these things for me, and that's why I want to work here. I know ABC Company has a lot of opportunities for growth and encourages employees to take on challenging projects to learn more. That is what I'm looking for. If you don't leave your current job, what do you imagine you will be doing in several years? I'm a very proactive person, and I'll continue to do my job well. I'll always look for opportunities and even create places where I can improve my work. I know if I continue to perform well, I'll have more opportunities to get promoted when a position opens. So hopefully in several years, I'll be managing people that are in my current position now. What types of people do you have trouble getting along with? Basically, I had to change the way I talked to him. I was very careful with my words and always said something like, "That's a great idea, but we could add this to it," or "I definitely agree with you, but can I get your opinion on this method?" To tell you the truth, I would rather not deal with a person like that, but I thought the right thing to do was to find a way to deal with him, so that is what I did. If you don't understand your assignment and you can't reach your boss, what would you do? First, I would read the assignment again thoroughly to see if I missed a clue or anything. I could even turn to the internet and look up other documentation if it was something like a difficult process I didn't know. After investigating this assignment and I still didn't understand it, then I could turn to my peers and see if anyone has done an assignment similar to the one I received. If my peers do not know either, then I could ask my boss's manager and verify with him. After exhausting these options, then I would have to make a decision on how to do the assignment and make the best decision I can on how to tackle the assignment. Before engaging in the assignment, I would leave a message on my boss's cell phone. How do you intend to learn what you need to know to perform well for this job? If the company provides training, I'll utilize the training to learn. If not, then I'll learn by being attentive to what other people do, read up on all the documentation, and be willing to ask questions when necessary. I know the first couple of weeks are important, and I'm willing to put in extra effort to start off on the right track. Tell me about a time you hired someone. I had one bad experience when hiring someone. I remember I was following procedures and verifying everything I could from past experience, checking communication skills, personality, work ethic, technical skills, and some tough logic problems. We even had 4 different people interviewing this candidate. Everything looked great, but when the person started, he had a hard time understanding new concepts. I originally thought it was because he was new and had to ramp up on many things, but as months passed by, this employee was still unable to work alone. He always had to ask how to do even simple tasks. I remember going through his resume and looking over his background, and even thinking about where we missed this flaw in the interview. Using this same interviewing procedure, we hired many great people, but this one turned out a little sour. Tell me about a time you made a poor decision. When I was doing an audit for a small company, there was a problem with one of the accounts. I tried to contact the company to ask questions, but they were not there. I made the decision to keep looking for the answer. 4 hours later, they returned my call, and I realized it was a simple typo. I wasted 4 hours of my day. In this case, I was too sensitive about detail, so I learned how not to be so detailed and picky. What extracurricular activities were you involved in? I was very active in the University Magazine Committee. I was a member of that group for 4 years. I helped write articles about events occurring in school. In my senior year, I was the editor and did less writing and more managing in regards to the magazine structure, what contents to add, and distributing work among the junior members of the group. I really enjoyed my experience there and learned about working closely together as a group to deliver a quality magazine. If you could learn something, such as a new skill, what would it be? I use the computer on a daily basis and know how to use everything I need to be good at my job, but sometimes something goes wrong with the computer for no reason at all. Because I'm not a computer engineer, I have no idea what's going on. Basically, I have to wait for a technician to fix it. During these times, I want to kick the computer out of frustration. Mostly, it ends up being a problem I could have fixed if I knew the details of how a computer works. So even though it's not in my job description, I want to know how to fix computers at a basic level. During your performance reviews, what criticism do you hear the most? I actually like to receive criticism because it gives me information on how to improve. But the most common criticism I hear is hard to correct because I disagree with the comment. I'm told that I should be more visible. I'm told that I do great work and I do a lot of extra work, but in a large organization, it's important to visibly stand out. I'm not a person who likes to be secluded in the office. I like to go out and collaborate. I like to work with people, and I email my coworkers with valuable information that will help with their jobs. So I can't say I agree, but I always try and be more visible. Tell me about a time you made a poor decision. In my first month working at Tiffany's selling jewelry, I made a poor decision by making an assumption. A person buying an engagement diamond wanted to see some rings. It's not polite to immediately ask for a price range, so I showed the person a variety of rings. He pointed to a ring that was about $12,000. The diamond ring he pointed to was one of the more expensive ones I showed him. Eager to sell him the ring, I explained the quality of the ring, explained our satisfaction guarantee policy to him, and made sure he was comfortable with making a purchase at Tiffany's. He bought the ring, and I thought I made a great sell. However, it turns out that on my day off, he came in and exchanged the ring for one that was $25,000. It was one of the rings that I didn't show him. So basically, I made a bad decision on selling him what he first pointed out instead of showing him more options. I assumed that the initial ring he selected was the price range he was looking for. I never made that mistake again, and I learned that I shouldn't assume so much.